All right, welcome to the second episode of the Pinch Hitter Podcast. With me today, as your host, John Melly, I have my co-host, Justin Rochat. Our third host, Chris King, is not with us as he is pursuing his extended efforts of getting Lisa Ann to appear on our podcast. But very special show because, one, we've moved to video, so we will be streaming not only on podcast applications, but also on YouTube from now on. And we have secured a guest. Former MLB pitcher Pedro Beato will be joining the show in a few moments. We're very excited. We have a list of questions we're going to ask Pedro as he joins the show. But Just, what are your thoughts, man? You ready?
I'm excited, man. I remember him coming on, 2011? He's a Queens native from Severian, McClancy's arch rival in baseball.
A few times, right?
Yes, sir. But what are your thoughts? Are you excited?
Beyond excited, man. Hey, we got an MLB, a former MLB player on, so that's got to be huge.
Yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited to see what he has to say about his former playing days.
So we ready to do this? We're ready to get.
Yeah, bring him on.
Let's get it.
What's going on, guys?
Hey, Pedro, how you doing?
I'm doing well. Give me a second. Let me
Yeah. Hey, Pedro, how's it going, man?
I'm doing well. Hold on. I'm trying to put the speakers in. Oh, here we go.
Yeah. No, take your time. Don't worry.
Here we go. Figure it out.
Thanks for coming on, Pedro. We really appreciate it.
Yeah, we're really excited to have you on, man.
My pleasure, boys.
The second episode, so to have an MLB player on, just that's a boost for our morale right to begin with. So thank you.
My pleasure.
How are you doing right now with the coronavirus and everything? I know how's everything with you and your family? How you guys managing?
We're managing well. Luckily enough, we got family nearby, so we have people to visit. We have people to mingle with that we can trust and be around. It's a very shut down time right now when including that we don't have any baseball going on at the moment.
That's the thing.
Yeah, so I have friends that are playing overseas and they're rocking and going. But here there's it's very quiet right now.
I know. We wanted to ask you about that, but I wanted to start to get everybody up to date with what you're up to. I know you played last in the majors in 2017 with the Phillies, and then you spent some time in the Mexican League and the Atlantic League. Are you pursuing any playing opportunities still, or are you moving towards a coaching perspective now with your career?
I'm moving more into a coach's perspective. I think it's I played enough. I played 14 years in professional baseball. I think that's a good amount of baseball to play. And I have two boys that are growing and they're growing with dad being around, and especially one of my oldest is a baseball lover. So couldn't ask for any better blessing than having one of my kids being able to love the game and wanting to play.
Yeah, so they're taking up the game like their dad, right?
Exactly. Well, hope better.
Hopefully better. So a Queens guy. You grew up in Queens. You played at Severian. I mean, a first round pick, 32nd overall. Then your Rule 5 pick of the Mets. I mean, near ideal situations. Going to playing high school ball, growing up in Queens, and then ultimately starting your career in Queens, and kicking it off with a bang. 18 2/3 innings right off the bat, scoreless streak. Only what is it over here? We had 9 hits and 3 walks to begin that. It's a Mets franchise record with that scoreless streak to start a career. Can you speak to that? That's got to be one of the near ideal situations.
Well, it starts out a little bit before that because I was drafted by the Mets in the 17th round. The year before, I got drafted by the Orioles, and I ended up not signing, going to college, and then going back in the draft. And then 5 years later, the Mets picked me up on a Rule 5. Going through that streak, I gotta say, the first maybe 10 innings or so, or maybe the first 5, 6 innings, it was nerve wracking. I got into some situations that were fortunate to was unfortunate to the fortunate, where I came in against the Phillies on an extra inning situation. We were playing 13. We played 13 innings that day, and everybody has pitched at this point. And I look around, and it's only me and K Rod in the bullpen. I was like, one of the two's got to go in, and then I got to use the closer. So I came in, and I had to face a whole batting order that had, all of those guys there that were great hitters. And I gave a couple balls hit that I thought were gonna be game ending, but I got lucky and ended up with a streak, which ended up being broken against the Yankees. I remember at their stadium, and it was a fun run. It was a fun run. At one point, I was like, "Oh, this is easy." And then everything turned around once the league got
and then you're
bit,
welcome to the big leagues moment finally came, and you're like, yeah, now I'm pitching the big boys. Right? Well, that's regardless. I mean, to start off like that, not a lot of guys have that opportunity. So I mean, you got guys who work so hard and don't even make it to the majors. So to get there and then even start like that, that's got to be an accomplishment itself, though, to some extent, though. Yeah.
Of course. I mean, the record was there for 50 years, I think, or so.
Yeah.
And until the point I broke, and I still have it there. So it's something that it's like when you're in the military and you got those ranks. That's the ranking I got right there.
Yeah.
Shit, you're still part of the Mets history with that now.
Exactly.
But there's only a select few that actually know what it's like to get that big league call. Do you remember that moment when you got that call from your minor league manager saying you coming up?
Oh, of course I remember. Just like it was today. I called into the office. I was just on the way. I was scratching my head. I was like, "What did I do?" They went to my locker and they're like, "Hey, the manager wants to speak to you. Terry Collins wants to speak to you." And I walk into his office. I'm like, "Oh my God, what is he gonna tell me? Are they gonna send me back to the Orioles or what is it?" But and in the back burner, I was content to the job I'd done at this point, because I'd thrown well. I think I'd given up at this point, like maybe a run or two. It's in all spring training, and Terry Collins' words were, "Hey, I want to congratulate you." That's when like everything, I just relaxed. I was like,
yeah, it felt relieved. Yeah.
Oh, very. And then he goes, I want you to continue what you're doing. You're gonna come up to New York with us. And I was like, maybe a couple of days into the spring training was done. So this whole time in spring training, I'm nerve wracked. Every time I'm going in there, I'm trying to put up zeros however I can.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. I mean, not everyone can say that they pitched in the big leagues and got that call. But a quick thing I actually wanted to throw in there was there anyone that was instrumental in you becoming a big league pitcher?
There's a lot of bits and pieces everywhere. I mean, it started from my satellite team. It's called U Service out of Brooklyn, and I had a coach named Mel Zitter. Now, Mel Zitter's MO was that he was a good player coming up, but he was a brat. He used to tell that to us himself, and he goes, "None of my players are going to be a rat." He was a very loyal coach. He expected the same from his players. And his tryouts were no joke. I mean, we were our practices were 8 hours long. Our tryouts were 8 hours long. We'll have 60 guys to try to make a team in a weekend. Next weekend, maybe half of those guys were there because our first 3 hours we were running. It was like
wow.
It was boot camp. It was boot. He was trying to make you break. That was his thing. If you really want to be here, then you're gonna go through hell. Moving on to that, I remember I was down in the Dominican playing winter ball with Licey, and I hadn't pitched much because I was a young guy. I had just pitched in Double A. I had a good year, and that was the year that was going to get protected. That was the year I got picked up in Rule 5, and if I'm not mistaken, his name is Guy Conti. He's like a special advisor to the owner or to the GM, one of the two. And he came down to Dominican to substitute a pitching coach that they had just fired from the Winter Bowl team. And he said, "Hey, are you Pedro Beato?" I'm like, "Yeah." He goes, "Do you mind if you throw a bullpen for me today? The people in New York wanted me to see you." So, I get hyped up because I know it's Rule 5 here, and I know I got to put up a good impression. So I get as ready as I can. I thought I was becoming a starter again because of how ready I got, because this is big for me. I mean, there's this guy that is being called from New York to pretty much come down and asking me to throw a bullpen to see me so he can give the report back. So I got ready. This bullpen I threw like 10 pitches. He goes, "You're done." I was like, that was must have been either really good or really bad. Either or. It was short. So it was either really good or really bad. So then come around a couple of days later, I got a call from Alderson, and he said they had picked me up in the Rule 5.
That's pretty interesting right there.
Yeah,
I like
really
that.
interesting.
Another thing, you mentioned Terry Collins. How was it like playing for him? Because me and Joe, big fans of him, we thought he got a lot out of his players.
He was very interactive with his players. He was, even in spring training, our trainings, he was part of it. He tried to be part of everything that it was surrounding the team. It was his first time back as a big league manager for X amount of years. I couldn't put a number on it. And he relied a lot on his veterans. He relied a lot on his veterans being able to. He relied a lot on his veterans to put the foot down and enforce the rules, which was good. He would step back, let the players play, and just did his part.
Yeah, imagine the players had a lot of respect for him.
Yeah, I was going to ask that because I know that in recent times, like towards the end of his time with the Mets managing, a lot of reports surfaced that he was more lenient in terms of how he handled his veterans than on the younger players. So that's definitely true, though. Then, right, Pedro?
That's correct. That is correct.
Yeah.
Switching.
They were going to ask about the coronavirus with regards to baseball, right, Justin?
Yeah, you can go with that one.
So Pedro, I wanted to ask you, well, the league is at a standstill right now, obviously with the coronavirus, and I know we were highlighting it earlier with regards to how you're handling it. Now the plan is to get the leagues eventually started, some point in May, and then have these teams playing, empty stadiums in either Arizona or Florida and in different locations over there. Spring training started. They were about 2.5, 3 weeks into it, right? You're about another 2 weeks out from the season starting before they suspended the whole thing as a whole. From a player's perspective, how long do you think it's going to take if they were to start the season in May? How much more spring training do you think these players are going to have to take before they can actually kick off an actual season where the games count? Is there what would you say for that?
I totally understand what you're asking. It's gonna take some time. I mean, these guys go to spring training, especially the veteran guys, to get their reps in to be ready for a season. For instance, in 2013 when I was with the Red Sox, David Ortiz started on the DL, and he went to AAA to take some at bats, and it was one specific at bat where he took this at bat took him like 8 pitches. I think he got out. He came into the dugout. He goes, "That B got me ready." So there's a certain thing on these older guys, this veteran guys, that something just clicks. Especially when the lights turn on, things change very easily. And I can tell you that because in my big league debut, the first pitch I threw was off the wall. The second or third pitch I threw was 5 feet in front of the wall, dead center field. And something just clicks on these guys. They become a different animal than sprint training. That's why you see these guys that in sprint training, they just look like it's not them playing. And then
Yeah.
season starts, it's a total different guy. So it's gonna take reps. It's gonna take time. I don't know how teams are gonna be able to manage the short turnaround. I just hope that the players have the accessibility to be able to stay somewhat ready until this time starts.
Yeah, and then you account for the fact that even if they, implement this plan where they're playing in, empty stadiums in certain states. I mean, the whole idea is that they play with, they play in just the stadiums. They go back and forth to the games, and they live in hotels. It just, from a regular perspective, it just doesn't seem like it makes that much sense. I don't think from a player, standpoint, I don't think it's the most ideal situation, and I think the league's gonna have pushback from players. Do you anticipate something like that?
I anticipate a lot of boring games. Just go back to the one time when in Baltimore that they didn't allow fans for the game. Maybe it was a game or two or something like that. There was a protest going on. How bad that was. And I think it's not gonna be fun. It's not gonna be fun at all.
Yeah, of course. Changing gears, I know Justin was very curious about this, so I'm going to let him take the lead on it. But we are very interested in your opinion on the whole the topic that dominated the MLB offseason, and that was the Houston Astros scandal. So, just with that, take the lead on.
I mean, I think a lot of people are curious about this, especially getting it from a former major league pitcher. But I just want to get your thoughts on how, because at some point, because first off, cheating just doesn't go well anywhere, but in baseball, it takes away the integrity of the game when you already know what's being thrown, and you're ruining guys' careers, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
Can you just talk about that and how you feel about that?
Well, I have 2 points on this. Number one, and this is on the side of cheating. There's no way that teams did not know that they were cheating from the beginning.
I 100% agree. And MLB knew. The commissioner.
Yes. There is a reason why you have men on second, you do multiple signs.
Exactly.
So you're not going to tell me that you couldn't make an adjustment before that. And why come to the Astros after they won? Why not attack the issue way beforehand? That's one thing. Now, on the side of hurting players, it hurt a lot of players' careers. It had hurt a lot of numbers. It hurt a lot of jobs. But that has to more do with the internal part of the older teams not doing their homework. Because if they do the homework, especially with the analytics right now, they had those numbers. They had the numbers that the Houston Astros, when they were at home, they were a different animal than they were away. So just right there, that should raise a red flag.
Yeah, it's a big red flag.
So why didn't they do something before that? Why wait until after the fact?
That's a big mess up on Rob Manfred's part.
Yeah, I was about to say. I mean, a lot of that's going to fall on him. Yeah.
And he has to fire his PR staff because what he was saying when this all came out was just not okay. And then after the penalties came down, he just looked lost.
Well, I'm not a Manfred guy.
No.
And I'll say this out loud. He's changing the game in a very bad direction. Unfortunately, there's a lot of things he wants to implement that are not going to work, and it's gonna deteriorate the game of baseball. And I'm sure you guys probably want to touch upon that a little bit.
Yeah, I was going to ask you something about that. Yeah, I was going to ask you something about that.
But there's a lot of things that the game should stay the same. Let's just put it that way to make it short.
Yeah. What do you think about the cameras though? All these replays. You think it's just slowing down the game, and it should just go back to what it was?
Yeah, of course, it's slowing down the game. I mean, you got to call timeout. You gotta stop the game completely. Wait, what is it? 30 seconds? 30 seconds?
Yeah, it's like a reality TV show now.
For it to reach. We're not playing football. We're playing baseball.
Exactly.
You have umpires. You have 4 umpires on the field. These guys are in the big leagues for a reason. The players are in the big leagues for a reason.
Yeah.
Yes, there's those few that are really bad, but that's anywhere. You're gonna have really bad umpires. Now they want to implement the automated strike zone. I pitched in that. That's a pro pitcher rule,
Hmm.
in a sense, because there's a lot of pitches that umpires normally wouldn't call. There's a video on Instagram that floats around a lot. It is that uh, umpire Diaz, not Diaz.
Angel
He's got
Hernandez.
Angel Hernandez. Angel Hernandez.
Yeah.
I think there's a Yankees playing Toronto, and catcher calls a high fastball. He throws a fastball down the middle. He called it a ball. The machine will give you that strike
Yeah.
because it predicted that it was going over the strike zone. The There's high strikes that the machine will not give you. I mean, the umpires will give you.
Yeah.
Especially on breaking balls, the machine will give you. I was in the Atlantic League, and I threw the closest fastball inside to a hitter that I've ever thrown in my life, and it was like maybe this high. So it was like this high, and I guess the guy was short enough that he caught the strike zone, predictively, because it's a prediction. It's not the actual uh, measurement of the ball being on the plate, and they called it a strike, and I was like, oh, okay. There was 2 other pitches I remember the last outing I had where the catcher's mitt was touching the ground. Let's put it that way, and it was called a strike.
Yeah.
Now it's not going to give you X amount of distance off the plate, which is fine because you're supposed to throw the ball over the plate. But is that human interaction, that human mistake or imperfection that is killing the game?
So you're a fan of the automatic strike zone?
I am not.
Yeah. Okay. Good.
I think baseball should stay the same regardless. It is very pro pitcher. It is very pro
They
pitcher.
should just get better umpires.
Yeah, let's just start there.
Like,
just before we moved with that, I was kind of curious though, Pedro, from a competitor standpoint though, you're like, I get that there are elements that slow down the game, but I would think from your team is playing for instance, and a questionable call is made, and your manager comes out and challenges the play and reverses that, and that has a crucial effect on the outcome of the game. So you're not open to the challenge in the league?
The challenge, yeah, I think it should be minimized though.
Yeah.
The challenge, I'm for the challenge. Yes, I'm not for the automated strike zone. Let's clear that. But I think it should be minimized a lot more than what it is right now, because they're challenging anything.
Yeah.
Like the challenge,
that's fair.
Like you slide into second base and you pop up for a split second and they tag you. You beat the throw. You're clearly safe, but you pop up for a split second and then they replay that and now you're out. I just don't like that.
That neighborhood play it's out of the question.
Neighborhood play has been around for 100 years, and they just take it out like that. Ron Manfred, I think he's been doing a terrible job.
Why change the game? There's no reason to reinvent the wheel.
Yeah, he's trying to make it more. He's trying to appease fans that aren't really baseball fans. That say I can only watch for an hour.
He's not a baseball fan.
Yeah,
he's not a baseball fan.
Exactly.
Plus, he's trying to make the game shorter. But this rules are trying to implement. It's going to make the game so much longer.
Yes.
Yeah.
So much longer. Because now he just changed his mentality from making the game quicker to having more action in the game. So if you have more action in the game, do you think the game's going to be quicker? What he means is not.
Just play the game.
Now you're going to have, 10 runs a game?
Yeah.
It's not going to slow down the game.
I just don't. There's a lot of sneaky things that I think is going on behind the scenes too, with the change of baseballs and trying to say that there's nothing different with the balls, but you have future Hall of Famers like Justin Verlander saying and Pedro Martinez saying there's something definitely different with these baseballs.
There's nothing wrong with the ball, so you got guys hitting the ball out one-handed.
Exactly. It's
I don't know. You tell me.
Todd Frazier's home runs, like a good chunk of them came with one hand on the bat, where you think it's a pop up to shortstop and it goes 400 feet.
I mean, there's something wrong somewhere.
And then out of nowhere, in the playoffs, the ball's just dying. And there was a report before the playoffs. I forgot who said it, but they changed the balls for the playoffs, and then lo and behold, balls that you think are going over the wall fall about 10 feet short.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
there's something definitely going on.
I mean, you had like you mentioned, I saw a home run that Vasquez from the Red Sox hit at Citizens Bank.
Yeah.
They hit it one-handed, and I was like, how did the ball go?
It looks fake when you watch the back.
It's like, oh, that's right there, can of corn. Yeah, right.
And you're seeing guys who generally in years past haven't even been relatively considered power hitters, and the numbers are spiking. I mean, here we got one instance, a utility player who played for the Angels last year, Samuel Estella. This was a guy who was a bench guy for a while. You know, he came in, he was a 40 home run guy if he didn't get hurt like in the middle of May. You know, he was closing in on like 20 homers, and you know, for a guy who wasn't notoriously known for home runs, that should be a sign there. You know, in itself.
I play with Estella. I mean, players develop as they grow better. But I played with Estella when he was with the Braves back in 14, and he was like a doubles guy. He wasn't a home run guy by any means.
Yeah.
And then I saw that, and then unfortunately for him, he got hurt, and it was like, this is a different guy. what went on here? I mean, they're not using steroids because they test it right now. If you have a good week, they're gonna test you. There's what do they call it? That lottery pick of you being tested, that's another BS of itself. And those tendons are too restricted for anything to even escape.
Yeah, I guess you could say it's almost like in football when someone, like, say a punter gets like a hard hit, the next day he's drug tested.
Oh man, when I was going through that streak with the Mets, I was getting tested every week. It got to the point when I got to the field and I would see the guys there. I was like, "Is my name on there?" Because I was every week I was getting tested.
It's not really random. Let's put it that way.
It can't be random because after I was getting rocked, I was getting tested anymore.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Actually,
Joe.
I just wanted to. What happened, Joe?
Because we got off track a little bit about the Astros, but do you think like people like Correa and Bregman and Altuve and even Springer, you think their reputation, they won't be seen as like the same type of player? Like Bregman was MVP caliber. Do you think they'll still have that reputation?
I was about to ask that too. Is the credibility still there after all, Pedro? I mean, these were all-star caliber players, MVP caliber players. Altuve won one himself. How do we look at these players now?
Well, I think you shouldn't judge them by this one incident.
Yeah.
I think you should put a whole career together and make your judgments from there. I think especially after they got caught. I don't think the numbers changed much.
Should we because we don't know how long they actually did it. All we know for sure is 2017. But there's allegations from Yankee fans all over Twitter that they've been doing it for 18 and 19. But so what are you saying that we should scrap what they did and then judge them from here on out?
I think so. I think it's fair for the players to be able to be judged from what they have done of an entire career.
Yeah.
This is what you're telling me right now from this 18 and 19. I don't know myself, so I couldn't put my finger on it.
Yeah.
But this is just allegation from fans. The fans weren't there. The fans weren't playing.
Exactly.
So why would I listen to somebody that wasn't there and actually experienced it? Should they be take into consideration the fact that they did cheat and it was it gave them an advantage? Of course. I mean, they use that into their advantage, but that's part of the game. Like you try to find every little nick from the others player's perspective to be able to get advantage for you to succeed. That's actually part of the game, because if a pitcher is tipping a pitch, you're gonna take advantage of it. You're not gonna tell him, "Hey, you're tipping your pitches." You're gonna take advantage of it. If I see a hitter that he's stepping out of the box when he's trying to sink because he's looking for a pitch in, guess what? I'm not gonna throw him a pitch in, because we're playing a cat and mouse game, and I gotta win. I got a job to do. You got a job to do. So every little advantage that I can take into my side, I'm gonna take it.
Yeah, I mean, like, I'm sure, like, in high school, because I sure as hell did it. Put some pine tar on the bottom brim of your cap. You had to do something. And with these sign stealings, sign stealing's been a part of the game for years. We've had to change up signs in high school, and you're telling me the Yankees couldn't do that from second base?
Yep.
Instead of putting fingers down, you could have called, because that's on Chapman right there. What was that? Was that 2018 or was that 20? I forgot what year it was.
I believe so.
Where Altuve rocked the home run to win the game. That's on the coaching staff. That's on Chapman for not realizing that they could possibly cheating, and I need to change these signs up or mound visit, and then I'll just tell you what I'm gonna throw.
Well, I just to elaborate a little bit on that, and just to re-mention something I mentioned before. Where are the little guys?
Yeah.
What were they doing?
Exactly.
I mean, it's not the numbers are not a mystery. They're there, and I'm very 100% sure. No, I'm 100% sure that they knew about it. I'm 100% sure that they knew these numbers. So something fishy was going on. They knew it because the numbers are there. They didn't act on it. Shame on them.
Yeah, it was a big problem.
A few lighter notes, a few lighter questions now, Pedro, we wanted to tackle with you. Can you elaborate on what was your welcome to the big league moment when you finally made it? And your whole career, who would you tab as the number one hitter who gave you the toughest challenge when you were facing him?
Well, I got a bunch. The two I can never forget are Braun and Harper. I never got those guys out.
Oh yeah.
In my career, I never got those guys out. I think Harper got his first professional hit against me.
Then it was a relief when he became a teammate when you joined the Phillies. Then, right? You didn't have to face him.
Yeah, it was very much. I mean, I didn't last long there, so I didn't mention to him or anything. He probably doesn't even remember. So, but I'm a player that I remember the bad things. I remember when I get rocked. I remember who hit me hard. I don't remember when I got you out. So if I remember something, it's because something not good happened.
Something not good happened. Yeah.
So you don't remember striking out Alex Rodriguez? I just saw the clip the other day. Because it's Alex Rodriguez.
People have brought those videos to my attention. Yeah, I do remember like certain bits and pieces, but very vividly, I remember more like home runs I give up, balls are hit hard.
Yeah.
More so than getting somebody out or getting a ground ball. Like for instance, one time I pitched. I was in AAA. I came in a close situation. It was a Sunday day game. We were playing against the Yankees AAA, and the catcher, what's his name? The catcher for the Yankees,
Gary Sanchez.
Sanchez was doing a rehab assignment down in AAA, and I threw 3 pitches and got out of the inning. 3 pitches, 3 ground balls, and I was out of there.
Yeah, moments like that you'll remember.
Yeah,
I remember that from high school.
The regular days that get people out, whatever. That's what you get paid for, really. So it's I don't really put much emphasis on it, and I don't really keep that in mind as much.
Yeah.
And our other question for you, Pedro, was Justin had come across something. Another friend brought it to my attention. It's the infamous haircut story. Justin, take the lead on.
My buddy actually said, because I couldn't sleep, because I don't know if you know this, but the NFL draft is going on. So I was up till 4 a.m. And I told my buddy that we were going to have you on the show. So he was just sending me some random facts, and he sent me this article. I think it was from like the New York Times back in 2012. I think you guys were in spring training with the Mets, and it says that every MLB club has like a designated player that will cut haircuts. And lo and behold, you're the guy that did it. Is this a fact? Are there actually
This is
guys?
a fact.
And you,
There's not a designated guy player on every team, especially in the major league levels, because they have barbers that just come in.
yeah,
But just happens that I am very good at cutting hair. There's actually not that one article. There's a bunch of articles online about me cutting hair.
they actually said that Justin Turner said that you were his guy. You were your go-to guy. What was it like cutting that freaking hair, man?
Oh, it's fun, man. I do everything really. I cut with scissors. Fade it, ball fade, anything that can be done, I can do it. It really started when I was in low weight ball and traveling to these cities where you're in the middle of nowhere and growing up in New York. In New York, we're blessed to have really good barbers everywhere.
Yeah.
And going out to the different cities, you don't find a good at least a good barber anywhere.
Yeah,
so I was like, people were going to Great Clips or whatever it's called to get his haircuts, and they were coming all botched up and with this terrible haircuts. And I was like, if they did that to you and you pay for that, I could do better than that. So I bought my machines and I just started practicing. I was lucky that I had a bunch of teammates that just didn't really care that I was botching them too. But at the same time, I was getting my reps in so I could learn. And I'll ask my barber I had back at the time, to like help me out or whatever, to like give me tips, like what should I look for, what should I do in this situation, blah 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 blah. And then I just 3-4 years into it, I got really good. And then I was getting requests from other teams calling me up when the guys that I knew, or like even on the field. I had a guy coming from the left field line, running all the way to our stretch on the right field line, asking me when was a good time for me to cut his hair.
You should have been charging.
There was ex teammates that I was that when they were coming into town, they'll call me like, hey, when would you have time for me? So I have to get to the field extra early so I can get their hair done, or try to find some time in the day for me to get their hair done, and I can go about my business through the day.
That's great. That's great. Well, you found something that you can do with coaching on the side now too. So you can have two professions after playing days.
Yeah, I do it now here and there.
You gotta fix me up after this quarantine.
Oh yeah,
the freaking hair is just growing out of control.
Last week I had a friend of mine that I played with, like growing up, coming up in the Oil system. He lives here in Tampa. He's like 45 minutes from me, and he calls me up out of the blue. I haven't spoken to him in a while. And he goes, what are you doing? I'm like, I'm just home. There's nothing to do. I'm just going around the house, doing stuff around the house, cleaning, fixing stuff around the house, blah, blah, blah. And he goes, I need a haircut. I'm like, sure. When do you want to come? Right now. So he drove over. I take my stuff out. And then he goes, do you still remember how to cut hair? I'm like, dude, I cut hair all the time.
Did you ever have to cut Terry Collins' hair?
He doesn't have any hair.
Well, Pedro, we wanted to ask we know you're the founder of High Leverage Baseball. I know that's what you're a part of now, post-playing days. Can you give us a little insight as to what High Leverage Baseball is about and what your future is with the business?
Well, I started off by pretty much doing what everybody does, a little lesson thing here and there. With my knowledge and my experience, I've had a bunch of success, which I have a bunch of pro players still like calling me up when they don't feel something right. And I was able to pick. I was blessed to have a good eye to be able to pick up things that maybe some other people don't see, and being able to fine tune some tools. So I started doing the lesson part of it because I'm very good at communicating with players and being able to relay the message. I know the things I stumble upon, though, which I have here on the table, are Going back. I'm sorry. Going back a little bit.
Mm.
So eventually, what my plans are is I wanna get my own facility. I don't have that yet. Uh, I'm working towards it because the plans I have are a little bit more much bigger than just a facility. I want to make like a little baseball heaven, a little complex within the indoor facility that I would like to have. Um, but along the way, I stumble upon a bunch of great products. Right here on the table, I got three gloves, which two of them I have to the client's gonna come pick it up, which are custom gloves. These are made with really high quality leather, really good manufacturers out of China, um, South China, Jianmen or something like that it's called. And I'm also trying to work a deal with people these people do gloves for guys like 44 and Marucci.
Okay.
So these people are very reputable guys. Um, I'm trying to find. I'm working on a deal with a manufacturing company out of Taiwan, which does gloves for Zet and Mizuno, their most popular guys. And these guys out in Taiwan probably are the best by far at manufacturing gloves. Actually, Japanese companies um, send these guys the products for them to work and make their gloves. So that's how good they are at making gloves. Um, so I started work. I'm trying to I'm working on a deal right now with them to be able to supply me with gloves and be able to add on to whatever I have on already. I also have these socks. These are dry fit socks. These are top quality socks, and there's I have five different colors right now. And as I'm starting all of this, my quality is high, but my price is low. I can't sell like Nike. I can't sell like Rollins. I can't
Mhm.
sell like lizard skin. Um, so my prices are gonna be low, especially the gloves. They're a lot lower than what you're gonna get from these
Mhm.
guys. But you're gonna get the same product, the same quality. Um, the hats I have on the table right now, these are obviously they have high leverage on it, and high leverage baseball on it. High leverage baseball is the academy and the program name. High leverage which I show closely right here. High
Yeah, yeah.
leverage is the glove side of things. I kept it at that because it was going to be easier, and I like the name. I actually picked the name because of right now in baseball. I don't know if you guys have heard it. There's a lot going on with the new analytics stuff. There are high caliber players or high leverage players. So high leverage players are your closers, your fourth hitters, your setup man, your starting horses. Those are the high leverage players that come in into crunch. They come in crunch time and deliver. These are
So
guys
that's where
that
the
go.
name originates from, essentially.
That's
Then,
the
right? Yeah.
that's where the name originates from. Um, I became later in my career a high leverage pitcher, and I just brought it on to the brand, which I've liked it, and people have really embraced it.
Those are really nice gloves.
Yeah.
I get gloves, maybe 2, 3 gloves a year, just because I like to get out even playing anymore. I just like to have them, and I'll definitely be copping one of them for sure.
Yeah, the
Sounds
gear
good.
I was taking a look at the Instagram, Pedro, that you the high leverage Instagram, and the gear looks incredible, man. The gloves,
It really
I
does.
appreciate it.
the apparel, man. So,
I wanted to get
where
them
can people
shorts too.
find the information for the product?
Uh, you can go to my Instagram. It's at HLB Baseball, HL Baseball 2019, and on Facebook High Leverage Baseball. You can direct message me there. I'm doing this work right now directly. I want to be as personable at the moment, at least. I want to be as personable as possible. I don't have I don't have a model that you can be like, okay, what are the models you have? I don't have that. I'm very broad. I want to make this as personal as possible for the client, where they don't go to a computer and just pick from whatever is there. I want to make this, especially right now that I can, that I'm still in the growing phase, that I can directly speak to the client and pick the brand of what they want, give them what what I can offer, and also give them a good price.
Perfect. Well, Pedro, we wish you the best on the business then. We thank you so much for coming on. We hope sometime down the line you can come on again and chat with us.
Sounds good, boys.
Appreciate it, Pedro. Thank you so much, man.
Thanks, Pedro.
Thank
It
you.
was nice having you.
Nice having you, Pedro.
Thank you guys again for the invite for this whole conversation, and looking forward for another edition of this. It was fun.
Of course. Thank you for
Hope
being
to
the
have you
first
back.
guest on the Pinch Hitter podcast.
Yes, sir.
That would be nice. Be something fun to do on the side.
Of course. Thank you.